And I was right for the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilor Olson.
Here.
Bridge.
Here.
Bender.
Here.
Mertzick.
Here.
Anderson.
Here.
Hendry. Finsland.
Here.
Herrick.
Here.
McKenzie. Dahlbeck. Nowicki. Emmert. And Sather. All present.
I call for the approval of the minutes for September 15th and September 30th. And who moved? Mr. Bridge. And second, Mr. Bender. Any discussion? Any corrections? Typographical errors, periods, commas, semicolons? I know he's back. That's why I'm spending so much time on this. Okay. Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed say no. The minutes for September 15th and 30th are passed.
Public hearings. Item 5.1 is a public hearing amending the 2006 and 2009 Community Development Block Grant Action Plans to reallocate funds.
This public hearing is now open. Anyone who would like to speak for or against item 5.1 on the agenda can do so now. For a second time, anyone who would like to speak for or against item 5.1 on the agenda can do so now. And for a third and final time, anyone who would like to speak for, Mr. Olson.
Yes, I would like to speak for this. Part of the sidewalk program is one that didn't really get finished out in South Superior. And by being able to allocate or reallocate some of these monies, we're going to be able to do it at this year's prices. If this goes through, we're going to be making some people very happy out on that two-block area. So if it's feasible and that's what it is, I'd like to thank the people that were involved and from not only myself but the people out there. So I'm very much in favor of this.
Thank you. And we've now spent millions on sidewalks in the city of Superior, and this is because this council understands we need better infrastructure. So appreciate that. Thank you, Councilor Olson. For the final time, anyone who'd like to speak for or against item 5.1 on the council agenda can do so now. Seeing none, this public hearing is now closed.
Item 5.1 is a resolution amending the 2006 and 2009 Community Development Block Grant Action Plans to reallocate funds.
Motion by Councilor Olson, second by Councilor Anderson. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. Item 5.1 passes.
5.2 is a public hearing authorizing the following alleys to be blacktop in 2010 between Hammond and Cummings Avenue and North 54th and 55th Streets, and Oaks and Banks Avenues and North 22nd and 23rd Streets.
This public hearing is now open. Anyone who would like to speak for or against item 5.2 can do so now. For a second time, anyone who would like to speak for or against item 5.2 can do so now. And for a third and final time, anyone who would like to speak for or against item 5.2 can do so now. Seeing no comments, this public hearing is now closed.
5.2 is a resolution introduced by the Public Works Department authorizing the following alleys to be blacktopped in 2010 between Hammond and Cummings Avenue and North 54th and 55th Streets, and Oaks and Banks Avenues between North 22nd and 23rd Streets.
Motion by Councilor Olson, second by Councilor Esther Dahlbeck. Any comments? I'm going to use that unit in the new facility, yes. Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. 5.2 passes.
Item 6 is a consent agenda.
Moved by Councilor Finsland.
Second.
Second by Councilor Esther Dahlbeck. Any comments, Esther?
Yes, I'd like to pull 6.22, please.
Okay, 6.22. Okay, the entire section there, Esther? 1 through 4? Oh,
three.
Okay. We were pulling 6.22, item 3.
Item 3.
Okay. Councilor Anderson.
I'd like to pull out 6.1 for comment, please.
Okay, 6.1. 6.1 for comment. Okay, anyone else? Seeing no others, I'll ask for the balance of the consent agenda minus 6.1 and 6.22, item 3. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Consent agenda is passed.
6.1 is the United States Department of Army expressing gratitude for the city's outstanding work on the SAMP II administration.
I need a motion, a second, before I can take comments.
Motion to receive and file.
Motion to receive and file by Councilor Anderson, seconded by Esther Dahlbeck. Discussion, Councilor Anderson.
Well, I'd just like to point out, we have some wonderful employees working for the city of Superior, and Charlene Johnson certainly fits that bill. And I'd just like to point out to the council, if they haven't read this letter, that it does call out the fact that she's doing excellent quality work for the city of Superior. That's been recognized by the Corps of Engineers of the United States Army. I think that's a tremendous thing, and I think she's to be congratulated by this entire council in the city.
In 2003, Mr. Jeff Vito told me that SAMP II would be ready in 6 months. The persistence of the people you're complimenting is why we have this SAMP plan. Thank you, Councilor Anderson. Seeing no more comments, all in favor say aye. Opposed say no. 6.1 passes.
Item 6.22 is the Public Works Committee recommendations from September 16, 2009. Item 3 was to receive and file Councilor Dahlbeck's request for a right turn only arrow on the south side of Broadway Street at Hammond Avenue.
I need a motion and second to discuss.
So moved.
Okay, Councilor Bender. Second by Councilor Olson. Discussion, Councilor Dahlbeck.
Well, I would just like to have that motion to receive and file, to make motion to approve, because it was approved at that meeting, and I think we just made the wrong motion.
Okay.
As chairman of that meeting, I agree with Councilor Dahlbeck's assessment of that we did, it was the sense of the committee that we did, in fact, approve that as something to be done.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor that precedes the prior motion. Motion by Councilor Dahlbeck, second by Councilor Anderson to approve item 3 on 6.22. Any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. 6.223 is approved.
Item 7 is business by department head. 7.1, Finance Director Vito is submitting the 2010-2011 Fire Department budget.
Let me just make one comment. Councilors, as you know, we've been in a considerable negotiation with the Fire Department to come to a Fire Department budget we all can agree on. We withheld this portion of the general fund budget in our last council meeting. I can announce to you that we have come to a resolution with the Fire Department budget, which there will be no reduction of firefighters as a result of the agreement we have worked out with the chief. So I urge you to adopt this budget. We need a motion and a second. Okay, Mr. Bridge, Mr. Finsland, I heard 2 voices. I'll pick those 2. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed say no. 7.1 passes.
7.2 is the 2010-2011 Information Services, Library, and Liability Insurance budgets.
Motion by Councilor Esther Dahlbeck, second by Mr. Bender. Any discussion? Mr. McKenzie.
Yeah, I just have a couple of questions and concerns about the funding for materials for the library portion of Section 2. If I could just read just a short part of Janet Jennings' letter to the council, where she says, our annual materials budget should be a minimum of about $5 per capita, according to the Wisconsin Public Library Standards. Using just the city population, that figure would be about $135,000. Since we also serve the county residents, it would be twice that. Even at $79,000, we are and have been way below the minimum. We currently do not have enough materials to meet demand. For these reasons, we will be balancing our budget from reserve funds so that the materials budget does not have to drop even lower from the minimum standard. In hard economic times, the library is used even more. I guess my question would be, is there any way that we could hold this portion of this library portion out to take a second look at that to see if maybe there's a possibility of some additional funding that could be used, like?
Can I make a comment on that?
Yeah.
What we have done in how we govern the library, they govern their own budget and make their own decisions. We do not put their budget together for them. This is approved by their board and by their actions. So generally, in a library budget, we don't get involved with that.
Okay.
So that appeal needs to go to their board because by state law, we do not tell them how to spend their money. So just so you know that
Okay.
no matter what you say, we don't tell them how to spend their money. They are governed separately and independently. So that request needs to go to the library board.
Okay. I read this letter, and it looked like it was kind of a cry for help, so.
We do not set their budget, just so you know. There's a few budgets we don't set. Councilor Olson.
Are we looking for approval of this at this point, then?
Yes, the library board has submitted this to you, councilors, to approve the budget. This is one they have approved. We don't go through that process because they are an independent board.
Okay.
Just so you know, it's a small distinction. Cities don't govern library budgets. That's why we have a separate governing authority. You appoint every board member, and you trust them to make the right decision. That's what the process you have decided to follow, and that's the one we follow in submitting this budget. So it's a pass-through budget to you from them.
So in essence, they're wanting us to approve this? I mean, this is what they've agreed to, then?
Yes, we didn't put this budget together, they did. Yes. Jean?
Yeah, I was just going to follow up with the comments from the mayor. The part that the city council approves is the level of funding that you send to the library each year. And so their budget has a transfer from the general fund of $980,000. And then once that money is approved, then the library, as the mayor is saying, the library board then determines how they'll spend that money. So they do have choices, and they're the same difficult choices that all the other departments have, where we're looking at what kind of staffing do you have, what kind of operating costs do you have, what other important parts of your budget, for example, the book budget, and then they have to start shifting those dollars around just like everybody else.
Yeah, I think if I read the letter right, too, I think they opted to not lay off anybody.
Right.
Yeah, so.
And we don't want to get in the business of running the library because that's statutorily they are independent. And so if we would dictate to them how they run their budget, that would be out of bounds for the city council and for this administration. Mr. Hendry.
Yeah, just a question. Maybe Jean can answer it. I just for my curiosity, when they run into a deficit, where are they getting the money from?
The library is in a separate fund from the general fund. They're in what's called a special revenue fund. And so in any given year, let's think of previous years, if they underspent their budget, that will stay within their fund, and as it builds up, they can use that for future years. So when you see this budget, they are dipping into those reserves to help balance the budgets of 2010 and 11. But then you have to be very careful about that because when 2012 comes around, you don't have that. These reserves will basically be depleted by the end of 2011. So then they're not a source of money to use to fund 2012. That's why we caution people that you need to be careful when you're working with reserves, and this is the way that they're recommending to balance the budget.
So they're not borrowing any money, it's just all what
it's all within their fund that they've
built up.
generated in
Yeah.
previous years.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, we give them a check. They're allowed to spend it any way they want. So basically, that's what you approved in the general fund budget is that transfer. So, any more questions? Councilor Anderson.
Well, I believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Gene, but the amount that we need to submit to them comes under what they call a maintenance of effort.
Yes.
And so this particular budget, meets that requirement of a maintenance of effort to the library, because we have to maintain them at a certain level, and that's we're doing that.
Councilor Anderson makes a very good point. There is statutorial law also as how we fund them. So, and there's reasons our legislators have taken the power out of you and me to start telling the library what to do. So, yes. Very good. Mr. Mertzik.
So the amount that we're funding is the bare minimum of what we could give them?
No, actually
according
not.
to the statute? No?
Actually not. No, it's above maintenance. It's above the minimum maintenance of effort, yes.
How much above?
It's based on a 3-year average that, for example, in the year 2010, we have to look at what we gave the library for funding for the years 2007, 8, and 9. Whatever that average is, we can't go below that. And so I think the $980,000 is probably within a few $1,000s of what the maintenance of effort. It's a few $1,000s above that.
And this is determined by law, so we adequately fund the library. And under that formula, that's considered adequate funding. So, any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Item 7.2 passes.
Item 7.3 is from Assistant Public Works Director Getzman, requesting approval to purchase two 2010 Chevrolet Impala unmarked police sedans for $19,194 per vehicle.
Motion by Mr. Bridge, second by Esther Dahlbeck. Any discussion? Mr. McKenzie, or excuse me, Mr. Herrick, I'm sorry.
Jeff, I just have
I didn't call you Esther Herrick, so you should be happy.
Jeff, are we replacing any vehicles, just replacing any vehicles that we currently have in this area? Or is this something in addition to the force?
I can answer that question.
Okay.
One is a replacement that the fleet managers recommended leave the fleet because of high mileage. The second is a replacement of a vehicle which was damaged in an accident. It was not the fault of the police department, and the city received some insurance money to help pay for that. That went to the CIP to support this.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed say no. 7.3 passes.
Item 7.4 is City Forester Morgan and members of the Superior Tree Board are presenting the draft Superior Urban Forestry Plan for 2009 and requesting approval.
Motion by second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. I know they have a presentation. We'll pass the motion, then it is approved. Thank you. So
Thank
if
you.
you want to show your presentation, otherwise you've got your...
Well, Mayor, I think we do want to show our presentation because we've received some excellent advice all day and this evening about short presentations that have some nice pictures in them. Thank you, councilors, for your confidence in the plan. I will tell you it took a year to prepare. It was launched by an earlier plan developed in 1998. And tonight we are joined by some members of the Superior Tree Board. And this is a group of people who are very passionate about trees, who meet with me regularly to give the city advice on the best way to care for our urban tree resource. You have heard from them before. They're very concerned about the threat of emerald ash borer. The chair, Mary Kehoe, will guide you through a short, very short presentation. Scott Carlson is with us, vice chair. Scott, you want to give a little wave? Hugo Salmi is with us. He's a long-term member of the board, very dedicated. Gary Foy, our newest member of the board, is with us this evening. And, of course, Councilor Herrick serves on the Superior Tree Board as well. So with that, Mary, if you'd join me.
Hi. Clicker over here. I'm Mary Cahill, and I've been on the tree board for 2 years, and I'm currently serving as the chair, so that's why I get to come up here and do the clicker. So I'm going to go through our short presentation. I guess I won't put the jazz on that you want to approve the plan, because I guess you've already done that, so I'll just kind of go through our little presentation. All right, so we launched our urban forestry program in 1998, and the first plan was created in January of that year by the tree board by using public input. That plan had 4 broad goals, and they've guided us over the past 10 years. There were 26 objectives to accomplish those 4 goals, and 18 of them have been addressed over the last decade, and that's why we needed to update our plan. The first of the 4 goals, was to increase our tree stocking levels. The first way that we worked on doing that was seeking a variety of funding through tree donation programs like our Tribute Tree program, urban forestry grants, and the community block community development block grants. We've also developed planting standards. And this is a diagram. It's a line of sight triangle for an intersection, so it shows the proper placement of street trees, putting the right tree basically in the right place. Okay, two other ways that we increased our tree stocking levels were to develop a species list so that we would have the proper street trees for our zone and our soil type, giving them the best chance to grow, and thrive and survive basically. And we have also overhauled our tree ordinance because prior to 98 it was kind of geared in for Dutch elm disease, kind of specifics towards that, so we have different needs now, so that's why that was overhauled. The second broad goal of our first plan was to provide education for the city council, for the tree board, city staff, the general public, and so forth. I guess one example of the education programs that I've experienced, I went to a workshop in Chippewa Falls with members of the city staff, and it was a workshop on tree maintenance and the emerald ash borer, so I experienced some of this education firsthand. What other ones could I tell you about? We have a certified arborist on our city staff now, so that's great. So he went through some good education process to obtain that certification. Some of the ways we educate the general public, if there are tree operations, pruning, removal of a tree or whatever near your home or in your neighborhood, we've been hanging door hanger thingies on doorknobs to alert you to the fact that something has occurred in your neighborhood. We recently did a presentation at the library on the emerald ash borer, so it was a way to educate the general public also. Also on this slide, I should mention that we are a Tree City USA since the year 2000 for 9 years, and we also do an annual Arbor Day celebration that we're very proud of. This slide is of this year's Arbor Day celebration. We took the fourth grade class at Northern Lights Elementary, and they went around the neighborhood, around the school, and hung door hangers on doors that were about the emerald ash borer. So we were trying to educate the community on the emerald ash borer, how to watch for it, and that it could possibly be coming to our area. And this is, again, part of our public education program. The third broad goal of our original plan was to monitor our tree assets. So in 98, we had a tree survey done, and we've come to realize that we need something a little bit more specific. So this year, there was a survey update, and it's really great. It's specific. It's IDing the species, the location, and the condition of all the trees in our community. And we wanted to do this because, well, one of the reasons is because the emerald ash borer is a constant threat, so we wanted to be real aware of where all our ash trees were located. So our new update tells us that there are 2,511 ash trees in our community, on the streets and in the parks, and this number may go up a little bit when they finish the count in the parks. And as a total, we have 15,000 street and park trees, and that number also could rise when they finish surveying the golf course. One more comment. This survey also talks about the condition of the trees, not only their location, but it rates each tree from 1 to 5, 1 being a really healthy tree and 5 being a dead tree. So this survey is really going to tell us a lot of information. You see a little picture of it. It's going to come out kind of like a plot book that gives us all this information. Our last broad goal of the plan was to maintain our tree assets. So basically what that concentrates on is planting, pruning, and hazard removal of trees. One thing that we geared in on recently is zone planting. That would be planting all the trees for the spring season in one spot instead of scattering them around town. And we're feeling that this is improving efficiency for the planting, the watering, the pruning, and so forth of the trees. So we're being more efficient, and also we're getting more bang for our buck. All the trees seem more visible if they're kind of in one area. And if you think of all the ones that were recently planted down 28th Street, they were all in one spot, and I think everybody sees them, and it makes a greater impact. So these were the 4 broad goals that functioned in the 98 plan, and they were kind of our guidelines for the past 10 years. So now we have our new updated plan that takes these goals and refines them, and with input from the public, we've updated our plan. It identified similar goals for the future, but proposed a more sophisticated action to achieve the goals. For the past year, as Mary said, we've been working on updating our plan. So this project was funded by the Wisconsin DNR, and we had an assistant, Lindsay Hogefield from Short, Elliott, and Hendrickson, that assisted us with preparing our new plan. We sought input from the public, and we were kind of asking everybody what could we do better in making our new updated plan. And we did this through focus groups. We did spoke to different community groups for feedback and did SWOT analysis, which is strength, weakness, opportunity, threat analysis. And we included all our feedback in our new plan. Our focus groups, we had some at the senior center. We did youth groups. We had one with you city councilors, city staff, and residents of the city of Superior. So we hit a big group of people, and most of them kind of told us the same thing. Some of the actions that were suggested, and these are just a few of them, if you've all got the plan in the mail, and on page 11, all the initiatives are listed. There's all kinds of stuff in there if you want to look at it. But these are just a few I wanted to highlight today. We want to continue with our successful initiatives, of course. We want to maintain our tree inventory, seek funding sources, both what we currently have and maybe find some new ones, educate our citizens and our leaders, and continue to host our Arbor Day. Some of the new ideas we added to our plan is to spread the value message about trees to the whole community. We are thinking of forming a speakers bureau on tree issues. And one of the things that we had already done, like I mentioned a few weeks ago, we had a presentation on the emerald ash borer at the library. Marketing our tribute tree program and our free tree planting permits. Maybe if we found a more, a sophisticated way to market that program, we might get more people to purchase trees that are in memory of a loved one or a special occasion. And one way suggested was maybe a mail stuffer in with our utility bills or something. And we also want to develop a tree hazard assessment that the average homeowner can understand in regular terminology. Here we have a picture from this year's tribute tree ceremony. We have Hugo from our tree board with Dave Padres from Murphy Oil. And we're thinking of ways maybe to provide incentives for the bigger corporations to donate trees to our program. Murphy Oil is currently our largest donor for the tribute tree program, and they've, I think, paid for maybe 230 trees in the community since the beginning of the program. So we do get quite a bit of input from this program. Another thing we'd like to work on is prioritizing boulevard planting locations, come up with some kind of criteria where to plant the trees each spring, and the tree board is going to assist Mary Morgan to determine where the spring tree planting is going to go. Okay, so with the council approval of the new plan, which you guys already did, we're going to move forward to a bright green future. This is Ohio Avenue, and you can see it's all nice and shady and tree-lined and green, and maybe someday all the streets in Superior can look like that. So anyway, I'd like to thank you for approving our plan, and I was going to ask for any amendments or whatever, but if you have any questions, we'll be free to, Mary and I are available to answer questions if you have any questions. Otherwise, thanks a lot.
Any questions, councilors? Mr. Finsley.
Yeah, I have only one question. I was reading through the report, and I noticed that on the 13.0 action plan, on the number one priority is to remove flowering crab trees from the boulevard list. They seem extremely popular with the residents, and wondering what the reason for the removal from the list is. That if people are anxious to plant those trees, wouldn't we encourage them to plant them on our boulevards?
That's a good question, Counselor. Flowering crab trees, as beautiful as they are, require an awful lot of pruning in order to shape them properly. And so we must return over and over and prune and prune. We believe they're a better choice for backyards, people's private property, as opposed to recommending a species that requires so many returns to get it to be shaped right.
Okay, this doesn't indicate there's any intention of removing those from the boulevards where they're already existing?
Absolutely not,
All right,
sir.
thank you.
Thank you. Mr. McKenzie.
Yeah, how many trees did you say that you have for the spring planting? Did you say how many there are?
Well, it varies from year to year. Normally, it's in the range of 100. However, the Tribute Tree Program has enhanced that significantly. This year was an unusual year in that we were allocated some Community Development Block Grant dollars, and we actually planted in excess of 400 trees with those dollars and the Tribute Tree Program. We don't expect that to be the case each year, but with the tribute trees are usually identified by the donor as to where they should be located, and then the funds that we have available for a spring planting, we need just a little assistance from the tree board in determining where they ought to be planted.
And Bob was asking about the flowering crabs. What species do you primarily use then for the big planting in the spring?
For street trees?
Yeah, for
Counselor?
street trees, yeah.
Oh, we have a list of a couple dozen, and we're about to update it. Typically, we've been planting maple, linden, Japanese tree lilac, mostly those, and we're finding in our new survey that we're maybe planting too many maple. We need to diversify the forest further, so we're going to update our species list with the hope of having more choices, although that's always challenging with our zone and our soils.
No silver maple, right?
No silver maple on the boulevard. But again, they make excellent park trees and yard trees.
Mr. Bender.
Yes, I just wanted to say thank you, and it was a very good presentation. And according to my tally, there were 9 photos and 3 visuals. So I think that's an A grade.
I will repeat, sir, that we await our grade trembling.
It's an A.
Oh, it's an A. Oh, sorry, I must have missed that. Oh, an A, great. That's good.
Mr. Anderson.
Mary, I'd just like to ask you, in a previous council, a number of years ago, we took the tree planting budget and made that into a trust account so that you could buy trees whenever, it was a good time for you to do that instead of following the regular budget cycle. I guess my question is that working?
Yes.
Is that something that you think we should continue to do, or do we need to make any changes in that? And secondly, are you getting enough money in it?
Currently, a sum of $5,000 is placed in the non-lapsing tree fund annually, and that is sufficient in the moment for tree planting, although you will note that we'd love to increase our stocking levels. If, for example, we could improve our tree donations, Counselor, we would then like to preserve that money for the moment when EAB arrives and we have to do some takedown of hazard trees.
Well, I guess that's kind of what I was pointing to. Mr. Welch isn't here to
sadly missed,
sound the,
yes.
the warning bells about the emerald ash borer, but we do know with the number of trees we have, it could be a significant expense for us to remove those trees.
Well, it will be, and so first of all, to answer your question, I'd recommend no change regarding that fund, and secondly, if and when the borer arrives, you will be hearing from us, and hopefully you'll be hearing it from us soon with a readiness plan, but when it arrives, we may have to make a number of other considerations. And by the way, Mr. Welch has become a member of the tree board in his new community.
No surprise.
No surprise.
Mr. Herrick.
Yeah, I just want to thank the tree board, Mary Morgan, for this fine work. You really don't realize when I was assigned to the tree board, I'm thinking, trees? What do we know about trees? But it was very interesting to find out what they actually do for a community. They also raise your property values and, of course, keep our air clean. So I want to thank them for their work.
You're welcome.
Mr. Olson.
I'm involved in the Workers' Memorial Holiday, which is the last weekend of April, and we do it in conjunction with the United Way. the city of Duluth. I've had Mayor Ross over there when we had some local Superior people that were involved in industrial accidents. And what the Workers' Memorial is, it recognizes fallen either soldiers or people in the line of duty, whether it be a city employee. We had a few of those a few years back. We've had a couple of soldiers in the last couple of years also lose their lives in the line of duty. And Marty Curtis had approached one of those families out in Itasca, and they were willing to become part of this tree tribute. So I think it's a great opportunity. We've got a lot of time, but I would like to see something like that happen in the city of Superior, whether it's on the Boulevard. Mary, you and I have talked about it.
It's a perfect application, Councilor.
And whether, if we've got a park or if we wanted one in each one of our districts, to honor somebody in each one of the 10 districts or wherever we could. It's a real good program. It's very well received over in Duluth, and I'd like to see that as well.
Well, let's have more discussion about it.
Any more comments? Seeing none, thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Item 7.5 is to award the bid to purchase city-owned property formerly known as 3717 East First Street to Joseph and Diane Nelson and Margaret Johnson in the amount of $1,000.
I didn't hear the motioner. Okay, Mr. Bridge, seconded by Esther Dahlbeck. Any discussion? Mr. Bridge.
I'd just like to say I'm really happy that it worked out that both of the adjacent property owners were able to split that piece of land. It's really nice that two people with small lots could add a little bit.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Bridge. Any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. 7.5 passes.
Item 10 is resolutions. 10.1 is a resolution introduced by Council President Olson showing support for city employee military personnel.
Motion by Councilor Olson, seconded by Mr. Anderson. And comments? Mr. Anderson.
Well, I just wanted to ask President Olson if the intention here is also to support elected officials of the city that may fit that bill. As you know, one of our own is a member of the military and has to be gone on occasion on official business, and so I wonder if the intent of your mind. I see it in the last lines it talks about support any city employees' military obligation, but I don't know that we consider ourselves as councilors as actual employees of the city, and so I was wondering if you might want to include in that elected officials as well as employees.
Mr. Olson.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with that, but as we are elected, we become city employees. We're paid by the city of Superior, so that was my intention with that. But
I thought maybe it was, but clearly we're in a different classification of employee than one might normally consider. So if you would entertain the idea of just inserting city elected employees and city elected officials, or city employees and officials that are on active duty, it would please me more.
Will the motioner and the second accept that amendment to the motion?
Motion.
Okay. Very good. Changing the wording. I think I'll have it read if you got it.
Okay.
There.
It would be, the title then would be Resolution introduced by Council President Olson showing support for city employee and elected official military personnel. We'd also add it in the body of the resolution.
Yes. So that the first line would read, whereas the city of Superior supports all of our city employees and elected officials that are active or reserve servicemen and women.
Correct.
Okay, thank you very much. With that amendment, Mr. Hendry.
Yeah, just to mention that in the last paragraph there, I see Dan's got in there where, let's see, in the first sentence there where it says the city of Superior, toward the end of the first sentence of the last paragraph, the city of Superior support any and all military service people employed in any capacity for the city of Superior. So I think that kind of reinforces what they want to.
Sure, certainly does. Thank you. Seeing no other discussion, all in favor say aye. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Olson.
I would like to read the resolution then, please.
Sure.
Whereas the City of Superior supports all of our city employees and elected officials that are active or reserve servicemen and women, and be it resolved that the City of Superior recognize the city's employees' service to our country and their dedication to achieving freedom for all of us, and therefore be it resolved that the City of Superior support any city employee's military obligation, and that those employees be excused from any scheduled city or committee meeting while defending our great nation while active, whether active or reserve, and therefore be it further resolved that the City of Superior support any and all military service people employed in any capacity of the City of Superior for their military responsibilities to their country, any military position in the armed forces, and their responsibility to the City of Superior as an employee, but to make it clear that the City of Superior does not support the war. Thank you.
That is the resolution we are adopting? You are adopting? Okay. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. Item 10.1 passes.
10.2 is a resolution approving the report of the Redevelopment Authority of the City of Superior regarding the consent by the authority of an assignment and assumption agreement between D&S Development, Inc. and East Second Exchange, LLC.
Okay, motion by Councilor Hendry, second by Councilor Esther Daubik. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed say no. 10.2 passes.
10.3 is a resolution introduced by the Common Council concerning the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources Compliance Maintenance Annual Report for 2008.
Motion by Councilor Esther Daubik, second by Councilor Anderson. Councilor Anderson.
No, I would just, do we receive and file that one, or is that a resolution?
I think it needs approval.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor say aye. Opposed say no. 10.3 passes.
10.4 is a resolution of the Common Council authorizing execution of a development agreement between AMI Real Estate, LLC.
Motion by Mr. Dahlbeck, seconded by
Second.
Mr. Anderson. And Mr. Anderson.
I know this is an important development, but I think there are some things that need some further explanation because as one reads the agreement, we are granting a rather sizable grant of city monies for the infrastructure in this particular project. And so I've talked with Mr. Serkin. I requested that he make a presentation to the council to explain why this is in the best interest of the city.
Thank you, Councilor Anderson. I think some of the councilors were at the press conference today, and I thank you for coming. The representatives from New Perspective, also known as AMI, approached Mr. Vito, myself, and the mayor about a year ago, looking to put in 80 units of assisted living, memory care combination. They had a piece of property in mind, which is essentially north and west of Target, 34th area off of Henry Cohen. And essentially we've been working towards this project. The construction of the building is about $5.5 to $6 million. As many of you know, the development will also require a roadway to be built. I think when we presented this to the council about a year ago in closed session, we had presented this project as contributing to the infrastructure improvements for the project. I think those infrastructure improvements are, and Todd, you can correct me, Todd Novacek is here from New Perspective, in and above over $1 million. So we are essentially contributing, Councilor Anderson is right, $400,000 directly to the project for the infrastructure. That includes, the streets. That also includes the other amenities that go with it, and of course it hits a certain percentage of that. There was one thing that was slipping my mind that I was going to also inform you.
And these are not a tax-exempt property, is that correct?
These are not a tax-exempt, Councilor Anderson. This is a tax-paying entity. I don't have the numbers at my fingertips, but we're talking a considerable taxpaying property for this. They are looking to begin construction the first week in November is what Todd is hoping, and hopefully being open for business in the fall of 2010. So, very good project for the City of Superior. Very fortunate to have landed this project, and I think our contribution, not only staff-wise, but from the council, the Plan Commission, the Redevelopment Authority, has really helped this project grow and become a part of our development. So I guess I'm endorsing it. I know we all endorsed it today. And I guess I would invite Todd to come up if he has anything to add to that, or if you have any questions for Mr. Novacek.
Well, just if I can just follow up. Now, and on some of these other projects we've got, just to draw some distinction, we have on other projects of significance in the city formed a TIF district, wherein the taxes were paid, but they went back to the payment of the utilities and other infrastructure in the district, and that TIF district can go out over about 20 years, and it normally so the payback is over 20 years. So in this case, it's not a TIF district. We're just making a grant for the utilities, but since this is a tax-paying entity as opposed to a tax-exempt property, which we wouldn't get any taxes for, I can support this under this particular formula. But I thought it required some explanation, just because of the fact that this is a fairly significant amount of money, $400,000.
Creating 70 new jobs in our community as well. Mr. Olson.
I was at that press conference today, and this is a facility that is the first of its kind in the City of Superior. It's an investment in our community. It's an investment in our people. It's an investment towards alleviating a little bit of the unemployment problem that we have here. Although a small amount, it will help. I believe it was 25 people, or excuse me, more than that, 25 construction workers, off and on, 70 workers, full-time jobs that live here. Will be, and we discussed today that the dollar, and I've said this before, turns over 7 times. Those people will be going to the grocery store, they'll be going, to the gas station, to the movies, out to dinner. They might be going walking down the street to Joe's Pagoda, so he gets a free plug. But anyway, it's an investment with a price tag, but a very well thought out investment that's taken over a year. The administration should be commended. I said that today, and I'll say it again. This is a great development for the City of Superior. It's a great process to move forward with this and to invest in our seniors. They are the backbone of this community. Look at the housing stock and the people in this town. So they chose to stay here. We should be able to give them an opportunity to remain here in their elder years.
Also, we need to thank the council. They're the ones that the administration proposed that we do something different than other cities do. They borrow for these projects. We began setting aside, putting dollars away 3 years ago, and we have a development fund. We're paying cash for this project. We're not going to have any indebtedness on the part of the City of Superior after this. And Mr. Vito and Mr. Cirque have worked very hard over this last year to make sure this project stayed on track and gets in the ground. I'm excited that people are going to be working fairly quick on this project, and so I fully endorse this. We worked very hard to make this happen. They could have gone to another community. They chose Superior, so we're excited. Seeing no more discussion, all in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Project is passed. Did Todd want to say something? Excuse me.
I don't know. Did the developer want to say something?
Sure. Would you like to make some comments? Sure.
I just want to say thank you. I guess you could hear me. I just wanted to, from all of our organizations, say thanks and echo your comments about the fact that what we're about here is seniors. And I think keeping seniors in your community, our mission statement talks about providing personalized service personalized assistance when you're 85, 87, 90 years old, and helping these seniors live out the balance of their lives with dignity and with grace. And the environment that you'll see there is going to be an amazing environment. I mean, there's libraries, there's a computer room, there's a beautiful dining facility. They'll get 3 great meals a day and snacks anytime they want. They want a peanut butter sandwich at 9 o'clock at night. Somebody finds a way to get them a peanut butter sandwich. It's their home. We're just simply helping them in their home. So what they want is what they get, and they're treated, as we think they should be, in these last years of their life. So, as Mr. Cirque mentioned, we've encountered some extraordinary additional costs on developing the site. As you guys know, you have some questionable soils in this community. I won't. But the fact is, you can find ways to deal with it, and that's the good news. And it costs a little bit more money. So we are appreciative for the help, the support, and the process that we have gone through in the last year has been remarkable, and we are appreciative. It obviously, at the end of the day, it hopefully really becomes a win-win-win all the way around for new employees, for our seniors, for the city, for our organization, so we have the ability to continue and provide these types of communities for our seniors. So, any questions?
I'd just like to thank you. I wasn't able to be at the thing today because I was in another situation, but thank you for coming to Superior and doing this.
Oh, well, we're excited and looking forward to it. We're trying to figure out how to get in the ground here early November. So, thanks.
Good. Thank you, Todd. Appreciate that.
Item 11 is ordinances. 11.1 is an ordinance introduced by the License and Fees Committee,
Move for approval.
amending the city code by creating outdoor alcohol consumption license.
Move for approval. I'd like to make a comment, too.
Okay.
Second.
Second by Mr. Olson. First by Councilor Finland. Discussion, Mr. Finland.
Yeah, I'd like to say that we did work very diligently on this with the License and Fees Committee, and it's come in on schedule because I had a goal of getting it done before the first of the year, and this is only October, so I'm very pleased with that. We had a lot of cooperation from the Tavern League, from tavern owners, from the public in general, had an opportunity to comment if they wished, and I think we're going to be satisfied with this. The goal of this was to get it done in time so that we have it in place so people can make their changes to their establishments prior to the implementation of this state law in July of next year. So I'm real pleased that this is accomplished as quickly as it was.
And thank you, Councilor Finland, for your leadership on this issue. And I have to thank our clerk, who worked very hard on this issue as well, to get this done. And you're right, timely, quick, and a good response. We have a motion, a second. Mr. Anderson.
Well, I'd just like to point out, in traveling this summer, I've seen these sorts of things in other cities. Baltimore is a good example, where they have outdoor serving areas and allow alcohol consumption. The Shack is a good example here in Superior now that is constructed in a nice outdoor dining facility. And I think when these are done properly, you don't run into the types of problems and issues that what I'll call some of the alarmists brought up about, the transfer of alcohol to underage people and those sorts of things. So I think that this is done well and right, and I trust that our tavern owners will see that they follow the law in doing these.
Thank you. Seeing no more comments, all in favor say aye. Opposed say no. 11.1 passes.
11.2 is an ordinance introduced by the License and Fees Committee, amending city code licenses, permits, and business regulations by creating a sidewalk cafe license.
Mr. Dahlbeck, second by Mr. Herrick. Seeing no discussion, all in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Item 11.2 passes.
11.13 is an ordinance amending the traffic code, disabled do not block sidewalk, by adding 2306 Ogden Avenue.
Motion by Mr. Bender, seconded by Councilor Dahlbeck. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed say no. 11.3 passes.
11.4 is an ordinance amending the traffic code, disabled parking zones, by adding 1728 Ogden Avenue.
Motion by Councilor Finzen, second by Councilor Dahlbeck. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed say no. 11.4 passes. I don't believe we have anybody by public. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.